Hello, collective. Welcome to your reading. Welcome to Joe's Medicine Tarot. I am Joe, short for Joanne, and this is my tarot reading. So welcome. This is a general spirit check-in, not a one-to-one spirit check-in. Whatever you resonate with, please take what you need and leave the rest behind. You may not resonate with the whole reading. You might not resonate with any of the reading. Whatever you do resonate with, take what you need and leave what you don't. All right, with this comes a warning. My readings are very high voltage. A lot of high voltage knowledge comes out of my readings. This is a true shamanic read, although it is a general reading. If you find that my readings offend you, hurt you, burn you, because they are coming from a very much higher dimension, please unsubscribe and come back to my channel within a year, maybe 2 years. This channel is for the masters. It is for people that have been on their path, on their journey, that are not novices. They're not new to this path. They are very well acquainted with the high dimensions. Okay, and that's not to say anything wrong. Like sometimes we're not ready for the high knowledge yet, and that's okay. For those that are, well, welcome. Before I begin the reading, I would like to say thank you to my channel members. They are the medicine keepers. They are the paid members of my channel. They are Raylana Anana, Dundee Murray, Cher, Kate M, Jace Frankson, Starlight, Jill Erica, Maggie Wilson, Lionel Duarte, Vicky Desiderada, Monique C, Stacy S, Adelphus Door, Ksenia, Julie, Love Is, Kat Zedler, Kate Johns, and Chris Mason. Thank you so much, channel members, for your paid membership. It is an honor to me to have you guys on the channel. It is such a beautiful honor to me. And just to see also your commitment toward your own growth. It's just an honor to serve you and to read for you. Absolutely. Okay, so the research I've been doing and the knowledge coming in is that we are at the end of Kali Yuga. So according to Eastern mysticism, there are 4 yugas, and I don't know the first names of the first 3 yugas, but this is the last yuga, and it's the Kali Yuga, and meaning very tumultuous ending, a very tumultuous end of the age. So here we are. So they say it's going to get very dark before it gets better. They say we're ending Kali Yuga on March 28th or something, or March 21st. I found that very interesting. I kind of like, how a 25,000 year cycle ends on Tuesday or something, you know what I mean? But I don't think it's like, I think it's just a date of time that lets us know that we are beginning a brand new age. And yeah, so here we are. Whatever that means for each of us, we're going into a new age. They're saying it's going to be a time of peace on earth. It certainly doesn't look like that right now. That's all right. Okay, I'm just gonna have a quick sip of coffee. My daughter bought me this for Christmas. I love it. All right. Okay, so let's start pulling some cards. See what the collective needs to hear. Communication. Whoa, first card out, communication. There, my light went off with this. There we go. Communication. The light went out. That was interesting. Creator said pay attention to that. That consciousness could be dimming for some people, could be people not wanting to be conscious, people wanting to be more unconscious. You know, it's a very conscious thing when a person decides to be unconscious, when they don't want to be aware. That's a very conscious act. It really is. You know, and like I said in a previous reading, people that realize that they are not cut for the higher dimensional path. You know, some people try to get whatever they can from it, like I said, using self-help and high voltage knowledge for their, well, I'm going to get out of this, whatever I'm going to get out of it, you know, trying to do that. I mean, that'll work until it doesn't. I don't want to work that way. But anyway, okay, so the first card out, communication, as I said, maybe somebody wants to communicate with you. Maybe there needs to be communication between you and somebody else. Maybe somebody wants you to communicate with them. The next card out is will. I feel like you or somebody else, but more you. I feel like you have a very strong will. Very strong will. Revelation. Yes, maybe there needs to be communication with somebody. Maybe you've had a revelation. Maybe they've had a revelation. But somebody's will, I find, is very strong, and someone's vision is very strong. Someone is holding very fast to their vision. They're not letting go of their vision. I'm just seeing them on a path, on a road, on a path, holding fast to this path. The path is like a path, you would say, almost like a deer trail in the woods, and that's what I'm seeing is somebody is on their path, on their vision, and they're not deviating. They're staying committed to their path, to whatever they have chosen to, and I feel like this is honoring who they are. This is honoring who you are. Okay? Integrity. Beautiful. Beautiful. Integrity. So I feel like there's communication that is coming in. Whatever communication is coming in needs to be integral. It needs to have an air of integrity. Whatever communication does, I feel like this is what the Spirit is saying. Speak with integrity, speak clearly. Sometimes truth can be very sharp. Sometimes it can be very, very direct. Sometimes it can be hard to hold. When it is that direct, you almost want to dim it down like a little bit. Yeah, I think that's what the light was also about. Dim the truth down a bit, or however, or maybe somebody wants the truth dimmed down, but maybe they don't have the integrity yet in order to hold the light, you know. So yeah, so I'm saying don't sell out on your integrity and do not tune it down. Let whoever needs to hear this, let them rise up. Let them increase their capacity for light. Let them increase their capacity for truth. But don't you sell out of your capacity to hold fast to what you know is true, to what you know honors you. Okay? Ooh, power. Power. Oh, integrity. I feel like you are holding the power. I'm feeling somebody wants to communicate with you. That's what I'm feeling. I'm not feeling you want to communicate with somebody else. I feel like you're on your way. You've begun your path. You're on your journey. You've started, and somebody is wanting to get you back, wanting to bring you home, wanting to bring you back, to stop you from your path, to bring you back to the way you used to be. It's not going to happen. The way this energy is, this feeling, you're not going back to former self. Absolutely not. And good for you. Strength. Strength. You're too strong. You're too strong in your power, you're too strong in your integrity, you're too strong in your vision, within your revelation, like your will is strong, you have revelation. I'm feeling you have direct channel with the creator, you get insights from the creator, you get insights from inside of your soul. Very powerful vision. You have a powerful vision for your life. You're not willing to negotiate your vision. You're not willing to negotiate your vision. Good for you. Authenticity. Of course, you're not willing to negotiate your vision, not when you are an authentic soul. Oh, and they're saying you fought hard for this. They're saying you fought very hard for your authenticity to resurrect it. I'm feeling like a former version of yourself, you may have buried your authenticity to sort of fit into the group. They just said you were miserable. You were miserable trying to fit into the group, selling off, cutting off a piece of yourself. Oh my gosh, yes, leaving 90% of yourself at the door when you come into a certain group of people who you're trying to fit into, and yet you have to leave 90% of yourself outside to come in. No thanks. No thanks. Totem. Ooh, totem. I'm feeling you have a very powerful spirit guide that protects you. The words there, I'm hearing liaison, like a spiritual liaison, like a totem that is a go-between between you and spirit. Shapeshifter, it's not shapeshifter. Liaison, like a familiar. It's like a familiar, but it's a totem. It's some sort of a totem that holds power for you. There's a little bit of construction going on downstairs or outside. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm so sorry. Maybe you're reconstructing your life. You know, maybe the construction going on outside here is a reflection of what you're doing within yourself, within your own life. Some sort of a reconstruction. So some sort of a totem, I feel, some protection. Some sort of a totem is very much protecting you, keeping you safe and reminding you to stay on your path and to keep your eyes on yourself and on spirit that is within you. Keep your eyes on your truth, keep your eyes on your vision. Divine feminine, this keeps coming out of this deck. So, and the Kali Yuga. Ooh, Kali, the story of Kali. The story of Kali goes something like, there was a battle on the earth between the gods and the demons. And every time the gods went to slash the demons, the blood of the demons would go into the ground and 100 more demons would sprout up, to the point where the gods were inundated and they went up to the higher realms and said, we're getting our asses kicked. Every time we slay a demon, his blood falls into the ground and 1,000 more spring up, or however, we're just getting our asses kicked. So the higher beings, the higher gods or whatever, called on Kali and said, Kali, we need you on earth. So Kali came down to earth and just got drunk with fury. And she pulled out her sword and was just slashing. She was able to destroy all the demons. Where no demons sprouted up, she was ferocious, devouring, just completely. She got drunk. And who was her? Shiva. Shiva's Kali's husband. So all of a sudden, Kali's so drunk with power, she's destroyed everything, and now she's destroying all the gods, like everybody that's in her way. She's so drunk with power. So they call on Shiva, Kali's husband, and said, Shiva, your wife is going crazy down on earth. You need to get down there and go and calm her down before she kills everything. She destroys the whole frickin' planet. So Shiva's got to go down there, and he sees his wife, and she is just full of fury, and she's intoxicated and drunk with rage, drunk with fury, drunk with the fight, just right in the zone. She can't hear anything except the battle. So he tries to court her, and she just slashes the hell out of him. He tries to fight with her, and she just slashes the hell out of him, almost like decapitates him, like whatever. Like he's just like, okay, like what am I gonna do? So finally he lays himself open and exposes his tender underbelly and lays himself back. And Kelly comes down to strike on him and then sees his vulnerability. And at the moment of impact, she stops. Because she realizes, like, my husband, oh my God, my husband, are you okay? I'm sorry. And all the rage comes out, all of it. So that's the story of Kali. So the Kali Yuga is basically, they say that's how Kali stops the end of the earth. Who knows what's going on? Who knows what's going on? It seems very intense out there. You know, who knows if this is Kali? Who knows? You know? But that's the story of the divine feminine that stands up with rage and stands up for herself, and she won't fucking back down. Okay, until her husband comes in to, like, baby, calm down, it's okay, you're safe, you've done a good job, you know. Okay. Echoes. Divine feminine totem and echoes. Revelation, strength, echoes. Yes, I'm feeling this is echoes from a higher power and echoes of wisdom and guidance you used to hear when you were younger, that you had to put down, like I said, leave part of yourself at the door in order to fit into a group of people that really you didn't fit into anyway, you know. And I'm feeling there's echoes. You're remembering a former version of yourself, and this is getting resurrected for you to connect with, because I feel like you were at the end of a cycle, at the end of a cycle of abandoning yourself, sabotaging yourself, betraying yourself. You know, I've been there too, man. We have to experience this. For those of us that have to experience it, we have to experience it, you know, to understand really what true self-love is, what true self-care is, self-honoring, self-loyalty, you know. Absolutely. So I'm feeling like you hear echoes from a former version of yourself that knew the truth, but you didn't yet have language for it. You didn't yet trust yourself enough to connect to it. And I feel like your tendrils from, like, your connections, your psychic connections was very much plugged into the group, maybe your family that you were raised into or raised by, or the collective of people that you were connected to. Your psyche was plugged into them until something happened. And that's what I mean. There's communication that wants to come in from a former life. Because when I first pulled this card, it was the echoing from a past that was echoing some sort of like a trailing into the past, where somebody wants to communicate. And I'm feeling like you know these people, and you know you're not really willing to communicate. Not right now anyway. Initiative. So you've taken on some sort of an initiative to reconnect with your echoes, to reconnect with your divine feminine, honoring this part of yourself, honoring the fact that you receive and respect the totems in your life that bring you messages, that protect you, that warn you. You can hear this. Yeah, because you've had a vision of your own authenticity, and you've taken the initiative. You're doing the initiative to solidify this, to seal your fate, your self, and your destiny. You're taking initiating steps into your destiny towards yourself, for yourself, for your truth. Yes, whatever revelation you've had, it's given you a lot of strength and the capacity to hear from echoes from a former, very like a distant former version of yourself that you had to disconnect from in order to survive in the group. And now this former version of yourself is resurrecting, is coming back. Is, that's a very common thing. The people that are clairvoyant, that are psychic, that are gifted, that are shamanically gifted, spiritually gifted in some way, that gift was not received within the group, and they had to abandon it. They had to desert this part of themselves, and then later on in life, it resurrects. Something happens in their life that destroys, collapses. Some sort of a tower happens that collapses. Like I say, systems of power must fail us. They must fail us, period. Our sovereignty depends on it. So whatever happened, some sort of system of power that you were connected to, a group of people that you were trying to survive in, trying to fit in with, that collapsed. And it was right on schedule, and I'm feeling it was written to collapse so that a former version of yourself could reconnect, because it was coming up out of the earth. It was coming up back for you to reconnect. Okay, to reconnect with. Beautiful. And that's what's happening. So you've taken some sort of an initiative to make this happen, to honor this. Ritual. I'm feeling for some of you, you are partaking in rituals because we're ritually designed. We are ritually designed, like the way you set up your home is like a kind of like a ritual. The way you have your kitchen set up is a ritual. Have you ever had anybody come into your house and rearrange your home? I remember having a sibling's significant other. She came and she stayed at my house and she rearranged my whole friggin' kitchen. And I remember coming home just going like, what the hell? Like, how intrusive. Like, how invasive. You just come in here and you just make yourself at home, disregard my space that I've been in here for the past like year or however. You just come in and just obliterate that. Like, okay, I'm in here now, and even though I don't live here, I'm just gonna rearrange it all to the way that she wanted it. I remember I was like offended, but yet trying to be a good host and allow her to stay. But I was like, what the fuck? like how rude, how totally rude. But it wasn't about the kitchen. It was about the ritual that I had established it with, because it has to do with magnetics. I like my coffee machine here. I like my sugar next to it. I like, my cupboard set up in this way. I like my microwave over here, and this over there, and that over here, and my kitchen table there. It has to do with magnetics. And when she rearranged all that, she shifted the magnetics of the room. And that's what, it kind of made me look at my own reaction and go, why am I so upset about this? It's just stuff. Like, what do I give a shit? But then at the same time, it was more than just stuff. It was a violation of a boundary. She didn't ask for my permission. She was just totally just on her own track, so That's what I mean. Like how we live our lives is ritualistic. It is ritualistic. Oh, oh, okay. Okay, this is a trigger warning for some of you, and I'm feeling compelled to speak this. For some of you, you went through ritualistic abuse. What I mean, I don't mean by like Satanism or whatever like that. God, I hope not. You know, if you were, I'm so sorry that's happened. But that's not what I mean. That's not what they're saying. What they're saying with ritualistic abuse, it's abuse that is repeated in a specific way. It becomes habitual. It becomes habitual. Oh my gosh. Okay, they're saying the way you were formed in a certain way, your psyche was molded in a certain way. Oh God, this is very, very triggering for me even. I'm kind of seeing somebody like being molded by their family, like kind of like here, you know, just sort of like just very carelessly. But I'm feeling that was repeated, like it's kind of like, you know, when you're molding clay, just like very carelessly molding it, just I don't have time for this, just here, just okay, here you go, there you are. And that's you, like that became you. As a child, I'm feeling like that was you as a child, but this ritual, however they formed you, was a reflection of them. It had nothing to do with you. Like it's like okay, they're saying, like they're going to say it this way. You grew up kind of inside of very narrow parameters, like in a box. But they're saying, please understand that this box was placed over you. They were the ones that were in the box. Can you understand? That's why they had to pass the box on to you. They were the ones that were in the box. Okay? This is what assimilation is. You know, like it's like what I've said to my adoptive family, my adoptive mother, what I've said to like other friends of mine, like you were assimilated before I was. In order for you to hand this box, this constructive patterns of the way an accepted human is in this little box, here you go, this is how you're supposed to be, you first manifested that, mastered that before you passed it on to me. You first had to get familiar with that narrow constricted box before you passed it on to me. Okay? But they couldn't understand that. Like they thought they were all in the right and there was something wrong with me. But the fact is I didn't accept that fucking box. I rebelled against that box when I was a fucking teenager, and I rebelled hard. Like, no. Plus, I have Aquarius very strong in my chart. Very strong. The planet associated with Aquarius in my chart is the planet Jupiter. Amplification of Aquarius. I'm practically Aquarius sun sign with that kind of astrology, you know. So very Aquarian, which is why I did get along with other Aquarians, but some of the Aquarians that I got along with did not get along with me because I'm also a Leo, you know, so being holding those two very strong, you know. I'm a different animal, okay? I'm a very different breed. Okay, here we go. So some sort of ritualistic element. There was some sort of abuse that was repeated over and over and over and over and over again. Like, oh God. I don't want to make this about me, okay? I'm not going to say that. They're asking me to give an example about okay, I'm going to say it. For the sake of you, I'm going to say this. One of the ritualistic things I had to do from a family member when I was a child was make lines, write lines, like fill up a whole sheet of paper, write lines like, I am an ugly, stupid little Indian kid. I had to say that over, write that over and over and over and over and over and over in order for me to earn my right to not be terrorized. I had to sort of terrorize myself. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm feeling is somebody ritualistically, there was some sort of ritualistic abuse. And I don't feel like it was like, how do I say this? Because abuse is demonic no matter how you look at it. But yet in the same element, there is medicine in this. There's more medicine in an insult than there is in a compliment. Okay, so I'm feeling like whatever, like it's like what's happened to me, the same thing they're saying, whatever happened to you was allowed for your growth. It was permitted for your growth. So maybe you're a shaman that needs to unpack this, to learn, because it's true, when we learn about who we are, when we learn about our light and who we are, we first encounter our light through our shadow. So we have to unpack ourselves. We have to get through the abuse. We have to get through the patterns, that we learned, the patterns of self-sabotage, self-betrayal, self-abandonment, all these things. We have to work backwards through those agreements with ourselves that we agreed with in order to survive in the group. Because they had those same agreements too. And they hadn't yet come out of these agreements, but you are. That's why they want you back into the patterns, because they're stuck in those patterns. You found your way out of those patterns. Okay, and I'm feeling like maybe they want you to help them get them out, but it's like, who helped you out? Maybe you did have very powerful teachers, but I'm feeling like they didn't necessarily come from these people. These were other people, like counselors, workshop facilitators, maybe teachers in school, like who knows, you know what I'm saying? So, okay. That was hard to unpack. Okay, shadow work. Yes, ritual and shadow work. There we go, right next to each other. Absolutely. So doing some shadow work, how would shadow work be with this? Understanding that the people that ritualistically abused you or hurt you were stuck in those patterns themselves, and this is what they did to themselves every day. What you do to others, you do first to yourself, regardless if you're aware of it or not. So understanding, like some people do a shadow work by standing in the mirror. Some people, close one eye and look at the mirror and say like, why did you do this to me? Why did you do this? Okay, I won't speak from my experience. Why did you make me write lines about how stupid, ugly Indian that I had to be? And then you speak as them with this eye. And you say, I'm so sorry. This is how I thought that I was. I wanted you to hurt the way that I hurt. I wanted you to feel small and diminished the way I felt. As long as I disempowered you, that made me feel powerful. And you're able to, it's like holding the tension of two opposites. And yes, shadow work is the forming of the high priestess energy, because you're developing mercy with the severity. You could hurt back, but that just reinforces the negativity and the pattern, the magnetics of the destructive pattern you're trying to get out of. You don't want to repeating that and make that magnetics stronger. You want to weaken the magnetics. And that's what shadow work is. This is developing the understanding for the other person. This is understanding for you. Okay, this doesn't mean you go tell them this. You know, when the Dalai Lama, I don't know if he went and spoke to the Chinese government about, you know, now that he sees them as a best friend because of what the work he had to do. Like, okay, let me unpack this. The Dalai Lama, when he was asked why he doesn't hate the Chinese government after what they did to his people, disemboweling them, okay? And he went very quiet and he thought about it and he said, yes, it's very true. What happened was horrific. And he said, that kind of powerlessness, that kind of abject horror, violence, helplessness, powerlessness, you know, after getting through the anguish of it, the pain of it, the anger of it, like, stop hurting my people, like, bah! Like, after getting through all of that, knowing that he couldn't stop them. They had the power, they had the money, they had the people, they had the military, they had all of it, okay? But he also saw that they were the ones that were locked in this pattern. Like I said, this ritualistic magnetics was put upon you by people that had already developed the magnetics of this pattern, of people that had to survive in the ritualistic abuse themselves, just like the Chinese government. Okay, they're now assimilated into the abuse. They don't differentiate the wound from the weapon anymore. They're one and the same, and they have become it. The same thing with who you are dealing with. They haven't differentiated the wound from the weapon. They have become it. So the Dalai Lama said, seeing that kind of powerlessness and horror, forced himself into his reach up into his most universal self in order to survive this. Now that he reached up into his most universal self, that connected him with his compassion, that connected him with the part of himself that can see the big picture, okay? With that, brought space into it. He had to also accept how he felt, powerless, grieved, anguished, hurt, wounded, sad, overwhelmed, you know, all these things. But accepting that, you see, Maslow's scale of hierarchy, you can't get to God, you can't spiritually bypass the like anguish, the you cannot ignore that. Even if acknowledging that takes you 1 second, but you have to acknowledge it in order to get to the top, in order to get to the Godhead. You know, a true adept, there's no spiritually bypassing. You have to go through your own actual needs to get to the higher. You can't suppress a need to stand up for yourself. You have to speak it. Okay? So that's it. So that's what shadow work is doing the hard work of developing compassion, anointing, creating the anointing. Okay, we're at the veil. The inner temple of the Temple of Solomon. We are at the veil. We are at the altar of incense. The veil that was rent before the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant was kept inside the inner temple. We are at the veil coming into the Holy of Holies. That veil that was a foot thick, that separated the Ark of the Covenant from the rest of the temple. Because the Ark of the Covenant, they say, emits the glory of God. But if you are not tailored and, how do I say this, Creator? If you have not been fired, If you haven't been fired and exposed to the higher dimensions again and again and again, where you can carry the light, you can carry the high voltage knowledge, the consciousness. You have to, there's an anointing that is generated that gives you that capacity to carry the anointing, to carry the light, to carry the consciousness, okay, of the higher dimensions, okay? That's what anointing is, and you have to generate it. And how do you generate it? By the altar of incense. And what is the altar of incense? The priest that swung the scepter of the incense. Holy, what are we doing? Why are you like, okay. The incense is the hardest parts of your life. You know, the ingredients was cassius. I believe cassius was a flower, a flower petal that was crushed. A flower petal that is crushed is your innocence. The innocence that is crushed, and the fragments, the fragrance that rises is sweet to heaven because of what you've had to go through. Heaven hears it and cries with you. Understand, but this is required. These are required. Nobody, no sentient being in the universe is allowed to remain innocent. Okay? So cassius, this is one of the ingredients in the altar of incense. Cinnamon is a bark of a tree that is peeled off the tree. How many things, beliefs about yourself have been peeled off by the people around you, by life's circumstances, painful circumstances? A thing like, I thought I belonged to the group, only to find out that truth has been peeled off you. The things that you had to put on yourself in order to fit in, the masks you had to wear had to get peeled off you. It was painful, it was violent, it was exposing, it was very hard. That's one of the ingredients that goes into the altar of incense. Your innocence, the beliefs that held you, that made you feel secure when you weren't, when it was just an illusion. That get peeled off, put in here. What's another one was calamine. I think it was a reed that's cut down. How many of you have been cut down by the people around you? Kicked down, cut down to, oh, you think you're so high horse? Well, I'm just going to cut you down, make you small, diminish you. That's an ingredient that goes into the altar of incense. Okay? And what is the last one? There's many. And olive oil, being pressed, being crushed by the heaviness of your experience, being crushed by, say you've been, give me the language for this, creator, being crushed down by life's experiences, people that have, maybe you've lost your family, lost your job, lost your career, all in the same year, all in the same day, all in the same month. However, that's a crushing experience. Maybe the person you loved, maybe they cheated on you, maybe the people that you loved weren't faithful to you. This could be family members, friends, workplace, whatever. That's a crushing experience because it's a group mindset that is bigger than you. And when you feel alienated by that can have a crushing, a pressing. But when you press the olive, what comes out of it is the oil. Okay, so all of these ingredients go into this. And when the priest burns this, the smoke that goes up. So how do you burn this? By acknowledging that the ingredients of your life, the hardship of your life was required because it taught you wisdom. It taught you the polarity. It is the birth of the high priestess. Mercy with severity. You can't, you know, it's elevating you to a higher dimension that you can hold the hardness, you can hold the difficult experiences of your life while you were understanding the necessity of them, while you were understanding how they formed you, how they made you as the best version of yourself, how you are understanding that they made you strong. You had to be strong. Even if they broke you down and rebirthed you, the Creator was breaking you down to remold you back into the image of your true self. You and the Creator broke your life down to rebuild yourself. Like all of these. So that's what the altar of incense is when you overtake the odor of just being the wounded person, but now you are the wounded healer. You've stepped into the shamanic healing title that is calling you. You can't be a shaman if you've never been betrayed, if you've never been wounded. You can't speak of these things if you're standing on the outside of them. How do you connect to somebody that has lost a friend to fucking suicide if you've never experienced great deep woe, or maybe you have but you've never connected to it? How do you connect to someone else's pain if you've always denied your own? So that's what I mean. Like it is you breathing meaning into why these happen to you. You have to develop the meaning. We ask God, why did this happen to us? And God's asking you, why did this happen to you? Why? Nobody can tell you. Nobody can breathe meaning into your life but you. Okay? And that requires climbing in, doing your shadow work, which creates the anointing. But it means you have to see the ritualisticness of it. Okay? You have to see the parts that are harder to see, that are less comfortable. But that is developing the spiritual warrior within you that understands the pain and that can carry the pain. Okay, this is powerful energy. This is not meant for the faint of heart. This is not meant for the drama seekers. Okay. Okay. All right. Dominate. Oh, okay. What they're saying with this is you're going to be dominating a higher dimension. You're going to be seen by people in a lower dimension that you're dominating a higher dimension. You are absolutely, because you know yourself, because you know who you are, you know your past, you know your story, you know your experiences, you know your pain, you know your lows, and you know your highs. You can't get to the Maslow's scale of hierarchy. You can't get to the heights of God if you've not known in yourself the lows of God, the hell that you had to live. Okay? God required you to go as low because he's going to bring you as equally as high. But you can't carry the anointing if you don't have the legs. And having the legs mean you had to endure. You had to endure the hell. You had to, being in the abusive situations you were in that were excruciatingly long, was developing in you perseverance, was developing in you endurance, was developing in you patience, was developing in you long suffering. Okay? So that's it. Oh, and the other thing they're also saying with the communication, true change comes with suffering. So be aware of this. That's what they are saying. They are saying if whoever wants you back is going to be like, oh, I've really changed. How have you changed? How? if they just had this inkling of a thing, but they didn't go through the woes of where they need to go, I would be very, very wary. If somebody shares with you how they have suffered, that has brought them to this breaking point of change, where they're now willing to make room for you, unless they've gone through this, I would be very, very wary, because it's just another dark magician manipulation tactic in order to confuse you, create chaos in your life, to fuck you up, to get you back under their authority. And I'm telling you, don't do it. True change of heart comes with suffering. And if there has been no suffering to back up the change of heart, that's how this is. People say, oh, the heavens opened up and God gave me this insight and now I'm all changed. Yeah, okay, that's called spiritual bypassing. So unless you have developed the power in yourself that can speak from the inside of this pain and connect to that higher dimension, I don't want to hear it. Because you're just bringing me a bunch of bullshit illusion. And I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I want to be able to hear you from down here while you're also connecting to the higher dimensions. But if you can only spiritually bypass to the higher dimensions without going down to the lower dimensions, I don't want to hear it. Because you're not, it's not a genuine experience. It may be genuine at a very immature level of spiritual growth, and that'll work for a little while, and then it won't work. I'm telling you that. I've been there myself, okay? I thought, oh wow, the spiritual path is going to be really easy, till it brought me to an impasse, and I fell into it. I'm not even kidding. It was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Plus, some of the hardest betrayals I've experienced were the best things that ever happened to me. Okay, let's do some clarification. Okay, do some clarification. Holy smokes. The creators just climbed in with you guys today. He just climbed right in. Climbed right in. The end of an old contract. The end of a contract. And I'm feeling whoever's looking at you is lacking the illumination as to how you are able to ascend to the higher dimensions, because they haven't done their freaking shadow work. That's why they don't understand how you can be up here when they're still faking their way down in the lower dimensions, trying to pretend to be in the higher dimensions, because they haven't done their shadow work. That's why. Okay? So they lack the illumination. They lack the illumination, but they're seeing you come to the end of a contract, the end of a cycle, the end of an old contract that they're still stuck in, but you found your way out because you did the work. But they lack the illumination because they haven't done the work. Magician in reverse. Whoever this is watching you, watched you come up out of a very, very weak will. I'm feeling this person also has a weak will to what is true and authentic in themselves, but I'm feeling like their magician, because their magician is, their hand is receiving from the lower dimensions. Their hand is receiving because this card is turned upside down. So this hand reaching down into the lower dimensions. This person creates from the lower dimension. Okay, they do, and they confuse it with the higher dimension. They bought their own con. They bought their own con. I'm feeling that your relationship, your connection with people of this caliber You're not going to be co-creating with these kind of energies anymore. Because death is here. Death is here to honor the end of a contract, the end of a cycle, the end of a way of being, the end of an old identity. Some kind of a death coming in. Queen of Cups. The death of where you are self-sabotaging, the end of self-sabotage, the end of self-betrayal, the end of not listening to yourself. This is what has come. This is why somebody wants to communicate with you from the past. And I'm feeling it's to try to get you back into an old version of yourself, and it's not going to happen. Because you have examined your illusions, you have examined the parts of yourself that no longer serve you. Okay, you've examined, if you think you have no illusions and that there's no illusions here, this reading is not for you. Okay, our illusions house us and insulate us until it doesn't work anymore. Okay, and just because we come out of it, like there's always, as clear as I am, doesn't mean that I don't have illusions that I have to get through. Okay, so I still have illusions of my own that I still have to get through, that I'm still working through. Okay, like what? They just said like what? Oh God. Okay. Illusions like when I think there's going to be peace on earth and I'm not making room for the human shadow and the collective shadow. When I think that there's going to be my own illusions, like thinking that everybody wants to be healed and whole, thinking that everybody wants to do this work. There are many people on the planet that are not ready to do this work, and they're not called to do this work. It even makes this very clear in this sacred scriptures where it states, if you are called by Christ, then you will definitely be called to be doing this work, to be going into the underworld. Okay, definitely. But if you are not, then you won't. Okay, period. New deck, the shamanic deck. Okay, and then I'm going to pull a Goetia and an angelic card. Okay. What does the viewers need to hear, Creator? Ooh, King of Pentacles. You are mastering yourself. You are going to be coming into self-mastery. Ahukin was a Polynesian shaman that would travel the day as himself, and at night, this is symbolic, in the shadow realms of his life. The night is when we are absence of the clarity, absence of light. Okay? He traveled and in the night, he traveled as a jaguar. So when you are in the darkness of your life, whether this is, night is often symbolic of when you are in the absence of illumination, when you are in the absence of light. The sun's light lights up the road, and lights up the path, and lights up where you are. But when you're in dark, you can't see. You got to feel your way around. You're not sure. That requires the shaman to feel, listen with different ears, see with different eyes, use an intuition, use different senses in you that are there. Okay? You're one hell of an established force. You make room for the battles. You make room for the conflicts. Look at the snake effortlessly moving through the spirals on either side of him. Spirals are indicative of unending cosmic evolution. They're also indicative of conflict. When you put two opposites together, you get a spiral. We live in a spiral galaxy. That's why the High Priestess holds the tension between the unity and the duality. The yin and yang is the duality within the whole. The whole of what? Your life. My life. Okay? There you go. So you are one hell of an established force because you know yourself, because you've been through the battles, you've been through the underworld, you've come through your own deeper currents, you've met with Pluto, you know yourself, you know your illusions that you sold part of your soul for in order to survive within the group. Well, now you relinquish those, connecting back with a former version of yourself that is resurrecting to come back into your life. Beautiful. Oh, the Emperor in reverse, an old worldly power. So I'm feeling like whoever wants to communicate with you is standing on a power that no longer has, a worldly power that no longer has authority over you. Okay? The Hermit. You're in hermit mode. Absolutely, you are inward. I'm feeling like you're in a higher timeline. Up is in. So if you're in a higher timeline, it means you're deep within yourself. And I'm feeling because you are in such a high timeline, you are in such a deep place. Up is in. That's an occult secret. Okay, when you're dead and out in blackness and you're in the void, where's up? Where's down? Where's anything? Okay, so inward. Okay, that's what's true. So whoever's looking for you, I'm finding, is having a hard time finding you because they can't find your energy because you're inward. You're not out there, you're in here. Okay, and they're used to an old version of you that they could lay hold of you because you did put your energy out there. Well, now you've reclaimed that spirit back, brought it into you. Now they're trying to find you, and like, where are they? They can't detect your vibration because you're no longer out there. You've come home. You're in a higher timeline, which means you are deep within your work, deep within you. Beautiful. Queen of Cups, the end, like I said, the end of self-sabotage, the end of self-betrayal, the end of self-diminishment. Here you are now, the Queen of Cups upright, Mama Kocha. Beautiful. Very encompassing, nurturing, self-loving energy. I'm feeling that the people around you, you have this certain anointing that flows off you and people can feel it. It's a self-love. It's a welcoming. It's like welcoming presence. Welcoming presence where you don't have to speak. People can feel that you have a warm and welcoming energy. And people like being in your presence. They like being around you because you feel safe, you feel welcome, you're warm. You can see you're not afraid of conflict, you're not afraid of the lower dimensions because you know them in yourself. So when you encounter them in others, you can make room for them if need be. Or if you feel, the 3 layers of stress, okay, the 3 levels of stress. If you feel stressed out, you've already entered into the 2nd level. Okay, so the first layer of stress, imagine you're in a grocery store and you walk around the corner and there's a couple, you walk into this aisle and there's a couple that are arguing. The first thing you do, you feel like, oh, and you walk away. That's the first level of stress. You don't even let it affect you. You just see it and, pivot, I'm pivoting, I'm getting the hell out of here. That's the first level of stress. But what happens if you can't? Maybe you're not in a grocery store. Maybe you're somewhere where a bully has cornered you and you cannot walk away. Well, then you enter into fight or flight. That's the second layer of stress, is when you enter into fight or flight. You want to make whatever's oppressing you or affecting you, you want to make it stop. Like stop. You want to make it to go away or stop. That's when you enter into the fight, flight, or freeze. It's either you fight against it or you freeze, you paralyze, you don't know what to do, you don't know what to say, you're like, you know. What happens if you can't make it go away? What happens if this bully has set you up in a way where they got everybody around you against you, told a bunch of propaganda about you, now everybody's like looking at you in a certain way? You know, what happens if you can't make it go away? What happens if you live with these people? What happens if you work with these people? What happens if you can't make it go away? Well, oftentimes that's when you enter into the third layer of stress. And the third layer of stress is when you go unconscious, is when you shut down. Okay? So there's no more of that. No more shutting down. I feel like you are a person that honors the first layer of stress. And if you feel like the person is ready to unpack their shadow, you can make room for it. You know, you can like if there's just showing me Eckhart Tolle, actually. You know, Eckhart Tolle can make space for anything. He doesn't push back against anything. He makes room for it. He lets it pass right through him. You know, and that's what I'm feeling. You have very much of a nurturing energy. You have the capacity to allow the stronger aspects of the battle to pass through you, the stronger aspects of the negativity, maybe the underworld, maybe the human shadow. And you're also aware that you will never really be done this work. You're also aware that as you expand and as you grow, you're going to be taking on energy. You're going to be taking on illusions you think may be true. Maybe they're not true. Maybe old illusions will come up in you. And these illusions are also survival mechanisms. Okay, they're survival mechanisms. They help you survive. They also protect the inner child. Okay, so whatever, and maybe you don't need illusions to protect your inner child. So we're always peeling layers of ourselves. We're always getting closer to the inner core, closer to the core. So that's what I'm feeling, is that whoever I'm speaking to, you are truly on your shamanic path, because you know that this work is not ever done. You're always in the process of doing the work. Okay, what is the demonic energy, creator? The demonic energy, the contract with the demon. As Padre Pio says, we have contracts with angels and with demons. We don't just have a guardian angel and that's it. We also have a demon that is there to challenge us, corner us, disempower us. This is all meant to strengthen us. Gets very, very real. Gets very real. Okay, I'm already an hour in. Number 28. Oh, I don't have my book. Just a minute. I'll be right back. All right, so another name for the Goetia is the howling. So these are the lowest dimensions of the human capacity. Okay. So this card is number 28. It corresponds to the Two of Pentacles. This is the demon Berith. Look at those horns. Okay, Berith, the Two of Pentacles, rebalancing, equilibrium, your sense of balance, your sense of balance. Oh, they're just saying this was about creating an unresolved imbalance of power in your life. And whoever is on the other end of this has no intention of rebalancing this. So this was put into your life because the only one that is going to be rebalancing this is you. Okay? Absolutely. So, relativism. So the truth is relative. This is also Venus. Ooh, Venus again. Venus corresponds to the, yes, this corresponds to the constellation of Leo. And this was about fucking up your balance, putting you out of balance. This demonic energy was put into your life as a lower contract, a contract with the demonic energy to keep you out of balance, to teach you what is balance. Okay? What is true balance? And it's not being connected to the people out there. Okay. Oh. Which one? The one on the left. All right. One on the left. And here is the angelic. Uriel! Uriel! Uriel, the tower. Oh, the fire of God. Disruption. Disruption warns of disaster and aids in transforming. Warns of disasters and aids in transformation. Disruption. Uriel, the tower. So somebody wants to communicate with you. There could be communication coming in. Okay? Somebody trying to keep you out of balance. An unresolved balance of power, okay? Trying to keep this unresolved. No. And there is an angelic energy coming in to help you. Disruption, to disrupt the imbalance. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So you have the tools, you have the knowledge, you have the wisdom. Trust yourself. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave this reading here. And you guys have a beautiful day. Trust yourselves. You're on the right path. Spirit is with you. You have the tools you need. You're exactly where you need to be. Trust yourself. Alrighty, you guys. You take care. And I will see you in the next reading. Alrighty.